Oh my God, it's really bright in here. So I put my name in the hat at the intermission, and a part of me was really hoping that it would not come up. It really was, simply because consciously I tried to keep people away from looking inside me, but maybe subconsciously I wanted to talk to you guys, and so here I am. So this is a story of two brothers, myself, I'm 29 years old, and my brother Raj, who's about 23 years old. And we grew up in north of India, and growing up, let me give you a little bit of an idea about my childhood days. Growing up in my country was no different from like growing up in ancient Greece. Like, imagine yourself, you are in Sparta, where like if you are a guy, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to shed tears. Your tear ducts are not functional. If you are going through something physical or emotional or mental problems, all you have to do is like put on a red cape and move on. And that was my childhood pretty much growing up. And over the course of time, it presented with us a lot of problems. Also gave us a really unique signature. Now, I don't have much, I do have memories of my parents, but my younger brother unfortunately doesn't. And all the cultural values that I grew up with like immediately came into perspective one single day when I was 11 years old and my brother was 5 years old. And instead of my dad picking me up from college, it was actually my grandma who picked me up from my school. And it was really surprising because she never comes and picked me up from the school, and I knew something was wrong. And I got home and I realized that my dad wasn't there anymore, which is fine because a lot of us have gone through this, and everyone will go through this at some point sooner or later, so there are no sympathy points here. But I look across the room and I really don't know what to do. I look across the room and there's just my 5-year-old brother who's just sitting in the corner, and he's crying and he's sad and he's confused, and one look into his eyes and it literally tore my heart. Like, what am I supposed to tell this kid? He's barely 5, and no matter what I say, there is nothing I can do or say to make him feel better. And now, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know why I did what I did next, but all I did was I ran from the funeral home, and I did. I went to the closest stationery shop, got red velvet paper, which you use in arts and craft, made two clown hats out of it, and took 2 pieces of red paper, crumbled them up, and make 2 clown noses out of it. And I immediately came running back, and I put one hat on myself, one on my brother, and I said, "Hey, do you want to go have an ice cream with me?" And it was really surprising. The reason I did that was because my brother was in love with these street side vendors who would dress up as clowns and bring ice cream and balloons, and he loved it. And now some people say, well, one person once said that subtlety is a sign of cultural weakness. A man who's uncivilized knows exactly what he wants, and he knows exactly what is right and exactly what is wrong. And in my case, it was pretty evident to me that what was right was making this 5-year-old kid laugh. And what was really wrong was these social norms that I'm supposed to comply with. I don't need a red cape at that particular moment, but instead I need is a red hat and a red clown nose. And that particular day, I ended up pissing every single person in that funeral home. I took my brother out, and we were gone. We were AWOL for like almost a couple of hours. And I came very next day and finished all the all the rituals that I had to do. Now, I wouldn't wish my trajectory on anyone. Next 18 years weren't exactly a walk in park for either me or my brother. There was no food for us. There was no money. There was no house. But somehow we got through it, and both of us are doing really well right now. Both of us are like, he's in Tepper and Cat School of Business, and I got my PhD from CMU, and things worked out really well. But over this course of next 18 years, I realized that me and my brother had formed this really super clownish bond where if one of us was struggling, the other person would always bring exactly 2 clown hats. And it was our way of saying to each other like, hey, the world hasn't ended yet, and it is not going to end because I'm always going to have your back. Fast forward the story, 18 years. About 7 weeks ago, I'm not sure I should be talking about this, but my world came crashing down. And I really thought that I'd seen everything that the life has to throw at me, but it did not. Hey, that's really good music. So, yeah, my world came crashing down, and three of the people I loved most in my entire life, I lost them in a single week. I was really, hey, once again, no sympathy points here, because we all go through it, and if not, one of these days we will. But I was really depressed. It took me 48 hours to get out of bed. I did not eat, I did not sleep, I did not drink, I did absolutely nothing. And at the end of the day, I ended up calling my brother, one of those like normal conversation, and I was speaking to him, and he was like, now he's sitting halfway across the globe at this point. And he was like, hey, how are you doing? And I didn't want him to worry at all, so I was like, oh, I'm doing perfectly fine. How are you doing? And we had this normal conversation, and we hung up. Exactly 23 hours and 47 minutes later, I get a call on my cell phone saying, dude, Pittsburgh is fucking cold. How do you live in this godforsaken place? And I was like, wait, where are you? Where are you? And he's like, stop talking and just come pick me up from the airport. And I rush across the airport. I rush across all the traffic. I go to the airport, and I see this guy who's clad in jeans, blue jeans, a shirt that says "World's Clowniest Brother Ever," which he himself made it up. And the only thing he brought with him that day, halfway across the globe, was his visa, his passport, and two clown hats. And he tells me, I know it's really snowy out there, but how about we go and us two clowns have that piece of ice cream that we always wanted? So that's my story.